Hello everybody, my name is Alexandru. I'm here from the Traces Help Desk, and today, first and foremost, welcome to the college session from 2026. We will be focusing on the phytosanitary and food safety certification with the focus of the use of electronic certification via eSeal. Now, what exactly is an electronic signature? Well, it's the digital equivalent of a handwritten signature and an official stamp. Now, an electronic signature allows us to see the authenticity of the certificate. It allows us to see the integrity of the data, and we are able to see any modification after signing. And it also proves that the competent authority actually issued the certificate. Now, let's see what exactly is an eSeal. And an eSeal is a official seal that's used to digitally sign certificate within traces. And as mentioned previously, it belongs to the competent authority. And only authorized users that are linked to this authority can use the eSeal to sign certificates electronically. Now, let's look at a couple of benefits of using the eSeal. First and foremost, it fully replaces the paper-based certificates. So if you use the electronic signature, you will not need to print out the paper, sign it and stamp it manually, and then send it to the control at the border, for example. It eliminates, as previously mentioned, the need for manual signature and when stamps. It facilitates immediate authenticity verification, so it's much better on that part. It's highly traceable because the way that this signature works is we can see who the user is that signed on the behalf of the authority itself, and of course the timestamp at which the signature was made. Up next, it accelerates the certification process. And of course, it accelerates the border procedures, just like mentioned previously. Not having to send that paper really saves a lot of time. And of course, it also gives us better document reliability. Now, it's really strong against forgery and tampering because of its traceability, and it's of course more environmentally suitable. Now, for the enrollment process in of itself, it happens on two platforms, the first one being Traces and the other one being Digital Sign. Now, Traces is mainly used for assigning the eSeal roles and permissions, for electronic signature, for managing the authority and the users that are linked with the authority, and maintaining the eSeal in of itself. And then digital sign is mainly used for the identity verification of the legal representative. And here, what this actually means is you will have to have a person that can prove that they can represent your authority, like, for example, somebody that's visible within the website of your authority. They will go through a video identification process. Most likely, they will use a passport. That's the most common method. And then, of course, digital sign will actually issue the electronic seal at the end of the whole process. Now, there are two key roles that pursue this whole process. The first one is the seal requester or the eSeal manager, which usually we recommend that somebody that's more active in traces and it's more familiar with the platform. And then the legal representative of the authority, which, as mentioned previously, they have to have some sort of proof that they represent your authority, and they have to have a document proving this. Now, the way they interact with the two previously mentioned platforms is as follows. The eSeal requester will initiate the eSeal enrollment. They will act as the main point of contact between us and them. They will coordinate with digital sign as well, and with us, as mentioned previously, and they will manage the delegation of the eSeal to the users that will then go on and sign the papers. And of course, they will also be responsible with maintaining the eSeal. Now, the representative of the authority officially represents the authority. They will confirm and validate the organization's information. They will complete the identity verification, and they will provide the official supporting documentation, just as mentioned previously. Now, these are the steps for the actual enrollment. So let's take a bit of a deeper dive into them. First and foremost, the authority will contact traces and request access to this eSeal service. After DigiSante's approval, you will receive two PDFs that are documentations for the platforms Traces and Digital Sign. And of course, the person making this request will also receive the eSeal Manager role. Now, this eSeal request or eSeal Manager can go into Traces and click on the Start Enrollment button in order to start the enrollment process. They will receive an EU Sign external ID after doing this, which is a unique ID that allows both us and the digital sign platform to identify your eSeal. Now, up next, as mentioned previously, it's the collaboration between the seal requester and the legal representative to do the identity verification. Throughout this step, you will have to complete your organizational data, to validate the authority's information, and then the legal representative will have to perform the identity check, and we mostly recommend using a passport for this. Now, after this whole process is done, Digital Sign will issue the certificate upon successful completion, and there might be a small delay between finishing the process and actually receiving the certificate, but don't worry about it because it's nothing major. Now, we are at almost the end of this process, because up next the eSeal requester will have to actually delegate the role of use of organizational eSeal to the users that actually issue the certificates, and before getting the eSeal they used to print out the papers, sign them and stamp them manually. Well, in comparison, right now they just have to have this role and just do a few clicks to digitally sign. And of course, as we can see, they will have this little box where they can click sign for digital signature, and they will be able to perform the digital signature in of itself. Now, as mentioned previously, there's a little bit of maintenance, but it's not a big deal. It's just that every 4 years, this eSeal expires, and before expiration, an automated email will be sent 30 days prior in advance, and you will be able to reissue this eSeal through the digital sign platform. Now, if you wanted to check whether or not your document has actually been digitally signed, once completed, you will have a gray padlock near it. And once you click on it, you will be able to see the status of your digital signature. You should not try to use PDF viewers to try and see the validity of your signature. Traces is the default platform that you should use to see the validity of your signature. And in here we can see how a document that has been digitally signed looks like. As mentioned previously, it has the person that signed, it has the timestamp and the authority. A very important mention that I need to make here, and I'm also going to make later, is that once you digitally sign, refrain from printing the paper and sending it. So it's either one or the other, but of course the digital sign procedure is much easier, because of course, even from the borders procedures perspective, they will just look into traces for this paper and they will find it, because in traces there's the original one, and if you were to print out a copy of the original from traces, it would just be a copy. Now we have a couple of good tips and practices for eSeal. As mentioned previously, the eSeal use is voluntary, but as we've seen, it's much easier and much faster. We also advise that you use a functional and stable email address, because if you try to do the enrollment with the email address of one certain person and at some point that person leaves your organization, then your eSeal might be lost as well. Then the legal representative and the eSeal manager are only going to be needed during this enrollment process and then for the maintenance, but otherwise it's just about the authorized people just digitally signing the paper. So again, much easier. The authority name should match the exact official legal name, because again, we have to have this one-to-one relationship between the two. And the identity verification must be completed through the digital sign mobile application. So it's not a matter of sending us an email or them. Just download the application and there you will be able to schedule the identity verification online. Now, if you are curious what regulatory framework we abide by, we also have links for that so that you can check them out. And we also have a couple of other useful links and emails that you can reach out if you need support. Especially, I'm going to point out the digital sign support team email, because you're also going to interact with them for this process.